So in this lab, we're going to go into a couple of techniques to cover your tracks and also to set up callbacks for those backdoors. So again, the first thing we're going to do is exploit the Windows machine to get back on the box. Now that I'm there, again, I'm going to check my SID. I am sitting there as a system level user. Again, I want to switch over to a normal admin user. And in our case, we're going to go ahead and switch back into John Sim at this point because we haven't set up a remote desktop connection to allow us to use that new support account that we've created. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and migrate into process 480, which is the Explorer, and that will give us rights as if we are John Sim. And we'll do the get SID again and verify that we are John Sim. Now, again, everything I'm going to do here is going to be from the Windows prompt, so we're going to go ahead and type in shell, and now we're back on that box as if we are John Sim. Now, the first thing I want to show you is how to set up a callback. So in the last lesson, we showed how to open up a port on the firewall, but how do we get the machine to always start up that netcat listener for us so that it can call back to us whenever we want, or that we can call back to it whenever we want? Well, the way you do that is by using the at command, and at is just an automatic time scheduler. So the way at works is we can set up any program to run whenever we want. And we can do that based on every day, every week, every month, or a specific day of the week at a certain time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up an at command, and first I'm going to check the time on the local system, because if I don't understand the time, everything's going to be messed up, because I bet you the Windows machine is not showing 9:51 like my Kali machine is. So let's type in time, and you'll see that for them it is 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 16:53. So what I'm going to do is we're going to set up a time to do something, and the time we're going to do it is going to be 4 o'clock and 57 minutes. That'll give us a couple of minutes to be ready and be there. So what we're going to do is type in at and the time we want it to happen. So in our case it'll be 16:57, and we're going to tell it to do it every Sunday. And then we're going to give it the command we want. Now, what I'm going to do, because I haven't set up a listener yet, is I'm just going to use something simple. I'm going to have it bring up a command prompt, and in the command prompt, I'm going to have it run a system info command and pipe that to a file called info.txt in the C drive. That'll work just fine for us. We could type in enter, and there's now a new job. To show the job, we can just type in at, and you'll see that each Sunday at 4:57, that is what's going to happen. Now, what will we see on the victim machine? Well, we're going to go over to that box, and we're going to see what the victim's going to see at 4:57. So I want to show you what we're going to see. Right now, there's nothing in the C drive as far as a file, and it is 4:56. Now at 4:57, it's going to run the command and basically just do a system info, which is a very quick command, and dump all that information to a text file. And we should see a text file be created on our C drive. Now that particular command takes a little bit to run, so while it runs, it takes a minute or two. You can see now that we've finished and we have the info file and it has some data in it. So if we open it up, you can see all the information that you would get from a system info command. Now that's not necessarily very useful to us, but it does give us something, and it shows us the capability of being able to run any program we want. And again, if you open that firewall, it can be doing things like pinging back to you and telling you, hey, I'm still awake and I'm under your control, or it can call you back so that every Thursday at 3 a.m. there's that call back to you and your machine can answer it, and then you can exploit that machine. So maybe you've set up maybe you've set up password sniffers, maybe you set up network sniffers, maybe you set up keyloggers, and every week you need to go back and get those files. It can set up that connection and send those back to you. It all depends on what you want to do and what program you want it to run. And that's just a little bit of how you can use at as a way to create that backdoor and help set up ways to send things back to you as you need. Now, let's talk about how we're going to hide some information. Well, we have this info file, so we'll use that as our information file. And you have this hacked file. Now I'm going to do this on John Sim's machine. You can do this from the command prompt on the interpreter box as well, but we're going to use it over here so you can see what the effect is of us doing this. So first I'm going to open up a command prompt, and what we're going to do is we're going to use what's called an alternate data stream, an ADS. And we talked about this in the lecture, but now we're going to use it in practice. So let's say I wanted to hide this info file inside this hacked file on the desktop. Now instead of this being the hacked file, maybe this is the person's Word document or something like that. Alternate data streams will work any type of file you want, executable or not. So what we're going to do here is we are going to do we're going to get to the root directory first, so we're going to go to the C drive, and from the C drive we can see that info file. Now on the desktop we have the hack file. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and move into the John Sim desktop, and from the desktop you can see he has one file called hacked, and it is 37 bytes. Very small file. So what am I going to do? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to type the C:/info.txt, which is my info file, and that's the one I want to hide. So in my case it could be malware or anything else. In our case we're just going to hide text inside other text, and we're going to hide that inside the file that we have here on the desktop, which is the hacked file. And the way we do that is type hack.txt : and then the name of the file, in our case info. And it's done. So let's see how large that file is. It's still 37 bytes. And can I still open the hacked file? Yes, it still looks the same. How do I get that info file out? Well, the way we're going to do that, we're going to read it. Let me delete that so I'll show you that it's no longer there. Well, if I just type to the screen hack.txt, you'll see that's all I have is that one line. Now how do if I open it using Notepad, well, if I open it, I can do notepad hack.txt, it opens up and I get the hacked file. Now if instead I want the info file, I have to do start and then do notepad, then do hack.txt : info.txt and hit enter. And what do you see? The information that we hid. Now is that information still in the original file? No, because we deleted it, right? And you can see here that file doesn't exist. So there's really no hint that I've hidden a file inside this hacked file. If I open it as the user, I just see the normal file. I don't see the hidden information. That's what an alternate data stream allows you to do. It just hides it. And even from the operating system, again, you see that that file size has not changed. It's still 37 bytes. Now in reality, it's larger, but that data is hidden inside this alternate data stream. And this is a function of the way NTFS file systems work. Now, why is this useful to us? Well, instead of hiding text, I could be hiding malware. And then I can call that malware using the AT program. So I can actually hide things very cleverly inside the file system. No one's going to ever see them because they're that alternate data stream. But then I can actually start them using the AT command every night at midnight or every night at 3 a.m. And that malware will make that call back to me. This is how attackers maintain their access. They dig in, they hide, and they cover their tracks. And that's what we're doing with the @ command and the alternate data streams.